Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Had to jump on here real fast before this verses hits, and I know everybody's gonna be on there, but I wanted to hold firm to our Monday dates. I know it's a little bit later. I got caught up at school with the rain and I got in a groove. I was making videos because if you don't know, my school is distance learning, and I got caught up in a groove. I was making these videos. I was churning them out on Loom, hence my look. I was taking videos. It was like photos. It was a whole thing today. So yes, that's what's happening today. Yes. So we won't be long at all today, but I did want to honor my commitments and my weekly check-ins with you all. Give it a little second here. I need to figure out how to share this on my page at the same time. If anybody knows how to do that, when you rewatch this, will you drop a comment and tell your girl how to do that? I'd greatly appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you kindly. Thank you. Kindly, fruit fly. All right. Okay, I'm gonna quit fooling with this. Ooh, look, an announcement went out. The Anti-Bias Educator is live now. All right, so let's talk this week. Well, last week, actually. Last week was rough. I don't know about y'all, but it was rough. I had a good couple of crying sessions. I have been trying to hold it together. Hi, Miss Gail. How are you? Hold it together this week. I've been trying to hold it together this whole summer, and I feel like I do a pretty good job of holding it together overall. But Chadwick was the straw on the camel. It was a lot of things. It was a lot of emotions. It's a lot of, I'll be turning 35 in a couple of weeks, and just reminding me of my own mortality. Here's this man who has played all these great historical roles and has just done this. He's done what you're supposed to do. And, and he's taken from us such a young age, and he's in the prime of his life, and it just feels like his work wasn't done. And that's something that's hard to swallow. When you look and you compare, like, losing a legend like John Lewis, he's lived his life, and of course he still has work to do, but he lived a full life. And you're looking at a young man like Chadwick, and you're like, man, he hadn't even scratched the surface of all the wonderfulness that he could do. And that sits heavy, and it sits heavy with what's happening nationwide, and our young men and our young women whose lives are cut from under them by the police, by others who don't value Black lives. And last week was a rough week for me. And I'm grateful that my husband was there to lift me up and share in the pain and share in the feelings of despair and hopelessness that I felt overwhelmed by last week. And there will be weeks like that. And I don't believe in toxic positivity, right? Positive vibes only. Like, everything's not going to be positive. Everything's not going to always be uplifting. There's going to be sad moments, and last week it was hard. And I think in that hardness, it caused me to pause and really want to press forward to make sure that when it's time for me to transition, that in the same way that people are honoring and uplifting Chadwick, that the people who surround me can say the same thing about me, that I've done the work that I'm supposed to do, that I'm leaving a good legacy. And so that's what I'm taking forward from him, of like, this man led an amazing life. And that's the same thing that I want to do, that when it's my time to transition, that people have those type of things to say about me, that I did the work, and that I inspired and I changed lives too. So we press ever forward and onward, right? So On to this week. School is starting soon. Oh, the joys, oh, the funs. Educators, helpful hints as we move forward into this week. Please do not overburden these sweet, sweet children as we go into distance learning. It is rough. It is hard. Grace is going to be the theme of this year. Grace for yourself, grace for these kids. It is rough in these streets. Technology is not always going to work the way that it should be. You just got to give yourself grace, and you got to think creatively. Like, the reason why I'm late doing this is I was literally putting together packets to send home to kids. And I work at a private school that has the resources where every child literally has a MacBook. But I recognize that cognitively, it is not healthy for children to sit in front of a computer for 6 hours on end. And so, again, thinking creatively, also recognizing that even though all these children go to this independent school, it is false to assume that they all have access to a printer at home. So I'm not just going to send documents through email and say, okay, print it at home. I can't make that assumption. So I spent the day literally putting together packets to be mailed out to these kids, and for them to pick up at the school, whatever is easiest for that to happen. So creativity, thinking outside the box is going to be a rough year. Be kind to yourself, be kind to these kids, and make sure that whatever it is that you are implementing, that you implement it in a way that is equitable, that all children have access to it. It doesn't matter whether you work in a socially, economically hot, upwardly mobile community or one that is struggling. Just make sure that you're considering that not necessarily all your children have access to things, and make sure that you take that in. You are treating all children as if you're taking that into consideration for everyone. And that way you're not leaving someone out of the picture. That's the tip. One more thing and then I'm gonna go. Today we took pictures for school, and it was a really funny moment, and it really did help to bring some lightness to the day. There was a white guy who was taking photos, and he was so excited. He's like, oh my God, I just love you, bro. I always find that funny. But lighting, the way that you light Black people and the way that you light white people is different. I don't necessarily understand all of it, but I do know that it is different. And even the way that you light different skin colors, I am on the lighter hue versus someone who would have a darker skin color. It's different. But I heard him under his breath. It was the funniest thing. He was like, all right, people with blonde hair, you know, the lighting, she's got darker hair, so I gotta make sure I gotta change this bulb, because that fro is just beautiful, so I gotta make sure I want that fro to pop. And I just see him over there flittering with his camera, and he is really intent on making sure that my fro is frolicious in these photos. It is the funniest thing that I've ever seen. And he's just like, he's not talking to me, he's talking to himself. And it was super funny and adorable and cute, and I really appreciated it. And he showed me the pictures, and I had just gotten out my car, so like this half of it was flattened because I was like, you know, jamming out, and I had smushed my hair. So I was like, hey, can I fluff this and then retake the picture? He was like, oh yes, I just want this to shine in all its glory. And I just really appreciated it. And so I share that story, share that story to say, white allies, it is small moments like that that can bring joy into a person's life, right? This man was not an accomplice, right? He's not helping me to tear down racism in this moment, but he did bring me a moment of joy and levity, of that he was so determined to make sure that my fro popped in these pictures. And I appreciate the hell out of him for that. So, Mr. White Photographer, I appreciate you. Thank you. Kudos to you for being an ally in this moment, especially coming off of a week that was draining spiritually and emotionally. It was just a light pickup that I needed. It was so much better than somebody looking at me and being like, how are you today? Do you want to talk about it? No, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it with you. I just want you to make my fro pop. And that's what I needed in that moment. And that's what that man gave me. And it was much appreciated. So that's all I have for you today. Things are going well. The course will be up We are going to actually start and launch September. Oh, where's my calendar? Hold on. Almost, so close. I don't want to tell you the wrong date. 29th, yes. September 29th. Becoming an anti-racist educator is going to launch online September 29th. We are going to start advertising next week with webinars. Those things will get posted, so be on the lookout for that. That is happening. Super excited about that. I think that's the major things. Nope, just kidding. There's one more thing happening. I'll be on another, what is that thing called? Podcast coming up. I'll tell you about it next week and share the details with you. That's coming up in about 2 weeks. So those are the two things that are coming up. The course is going to launch September 29th. It'll run about 7 weeks. We'll be done before Thanksgiving. And I'll be on another podcast in about 2 weeks, and I'll share the details of that next week. That's all I have. I hope you all have a great evening. If you're going over to watch the verses, my money's on Monica. That's my girl. Yes. I can't sing, so I'm not going to do that to you. But that's all right. Have a wonderful evening. I will see you all next Monday, 4:30, 3:30. 4:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Central Time. See you then. Have a wonderful evening. I'm sending you love, joy, peace, happiness, all the best of intentions. Good night.